Alright, so I played a game recently called Heroes of a Storm. This is a bit of a weird one, mostly because everyone probably already knows about it, and I hate this style of gameplay with a passion. Yet here I am, not recommending this in the slightest. Oh well. What is it about? A bunch of Blizzard properties came together and thought, surely it makes sense for Deathwing to beat a small Asian woman wearing a puffy coat, or for Protoss Dragoon to trample over adolescent pandas. Truly, this game offers unrivaled equality. What did I enjoy? Sadly, I have to admit that I enjoy the treadmill progression, and that's probably the only reason I kept playing the game. The number of heroes I just wanted to see, like Gul'dan, Phoenix, Artanis, Raynor, Thrall, Rhaegar, Garrosh, yada 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 yada. And I wanted to see all the cosmetics and whatnot. This game is the ultimate pander for a Blizzard fanboy, all the while sprinkling all the psychological tricks which keep the people engaged, such as daily quests, little notification for bonus XP, loot boxes with animations which are all shiny and take about half an hour but still trigger those goblin brain responses. It's soul-sucking to admit that I enjoyed that, but I can't lie about it. Sometimes it was also occasionally amusing. For example, when playing Cho'Gall, it actually deserves some recognition for that alone. So if you don't know, Cho'Gall is two characters. One player moves the body around and uses some skills, other controls other skills and can from time to time shove the first player a bit. There's also a bomb Cho throws which Gall has to detonate. I think most of my fun games were as Gall, just trash talking each other as we carried the team to victory or fed the enemy repeatedly. All things considered, I don't think I'd enjoy anywhere near as much if I couldn't just turn off my brain and have some stupid arguments with people. Anyway, again, I'm gonna repeat myself. Dota style of games irritate the hell out of me. Those games are an inferior version of what already exists, like proper RPGs, proper RTS, and then takes them and makes them worse, dumber, and just all around less interested in every single way. Glorified mods, if that. I've seen some very polished, intricate mods in StarCraft 2. Pretty much the only game I truly enjoyed and praised which is considered Dota style is Awesomenauts. And it does things entirely different in so many ways. By the way, if anyone has too much time on their hands can pester Atari for bringing that game back online, I would appreciate that. Because Awesomenauts developer actually went bankrupt, and the whole game is now in not even in live support mode. The only playable version is outdated one on Steam, with laggy matchmaking and hackers galore. Yeah, I guess good games get forgotten. Anyway, so the flaws. I suppose ignoring the things I've already said, the Heroes of a Storm seem not too well balanced. I'm not exactly sure about all the numbers, but it's fairly obvious that some characters are flat out worse than others. There are of course options like some healer is not great at actually healing but provides superior crowd control, or a way to bail out of really sticky situations, yada yada yada, but well, the facts are still there. For example, I think Uther is just flat out garbage. His best healing ability as a healer is over a 10-second cooldown. His stun is on minuscule range and he is melee, and his second ability is essentially a light fart which heals and does pathetic damage. He is almost more of a tank than a heal, but he's terrible at that too, as there is no way to bail out of lethal damage. Really, Tyrande heals more, can offer much more damage and can stun groups from level 1. And even then, she is actually a terrible heal too. By the way, I mostly played heals and tanks. The point is that there is simply little reason to bother with some characters as they are just terrible. And there are also those who have their kits which makes no sense whatsoever. Take Rhaegar. If you've heard of him, that's a badass shaman orc who kicks ass and has a whole wolf shtick going for him. So, some sort of elemental DPS, right? Just throwing lightnings around and fires and freezing people. Nah. He's a healer who has terrible melee attack, lightning shield which somehow restores mana instead of being a good damaging ability, a totem which is supposed to slow but barely does that, and lastly, he has a purge which doesn't purge shit. I don't know how can someone take an iconic ability which literally means dispel and not make it dispel. Can't stop enemies going on a rampage, can't remove summoned minions, can't get rid of buffs, it's slow for enemies and a tiny buff for allies. How the hell is that Rhaegar? It's like taking a legendary warrior and turning him into a bullet sponge. Oh yeah, that happened too. Garrosh is turned into a school bully, shoving people around and doing nothing else of worth. And here's me thinking Shadowlands is the worst thing that Blizzard had to offer for their beloved characters. Could probably complain about every other character, really. Only one who actually felt right is Gul'dan. But then again, it's because they simply copied Warlock from WoW and did some minor changes. Like corruption is a bunch of explosions instead of dots. That's really weird. Anyway, in the end, I think the game fails to actually deliver anything worthwhile gameplay-wise. I do enjoy the idea of having objectives, of course, but those don't address the underlying issue of the game itself being ass. If I could actually do this stuff in WoW, boy, that would be cool. Running around, collecting coins, throwing death and decay to zone out people trying to capture something. Battlegrounds are basically a step back from this. But then again, WoW gameplay is so much more smooth and enjoyable than the gimped travesty of Dota-like. I am frankly insulted that I got into it. Terrible game, but I was roped into it, so at least I have some excuse. I was just trying to recapture those long lost moments I've had in raids where I have done everything 100 times, playing on autopilot and just shooting the breeze with my friends. And instead of having fun in WoW, I had this really brain-dead garbage Dota shit. Yeah. I think my opinion about that style of games is very, 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 very well conveyed.